More. The sentence for the Rust movie armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, considered in the 18-month sentence for the fatal onset shooting of the head camera operator.
We can't stress enough the jail phone calls that Gutierrez had made here in the last few weeks. The judge had mentioned those. The prosecution had mentioned those as having a significant impact on the way that the sentencing went down. Ultimately, the judge saying that Ms. Gutierrez was not remorseful enough.
ABC's Mola Lengi. Smartphone sales bouncing back after years of pandemic-related declines.
According to the International Data Corporation, nearly 290 million smartphones shipped last quarter. That's a year-on-year increase of just under 8%.
This is the third consecutive quarter of increase, so it's really cements that, the industry's on the way to recovery.
Nabila Popal is a research director at the IDC. She says Samsung now accounts for the largest share of the global smartphone market, reclaiming that title from Apple. That company saw a nearly 10% decline in the last quarter. I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
NASA confirmed that a piece of space junk that fell into a Florida house came from the International Space Station. An examination of the piece revealed it was a cargo pellet containing an old battery that was released from the station. The hardware was expected to burn up in Earth's atmosphere, but instead crashed through the roof of a home in Naples, Florida. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
The station for news and talk. KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:04. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Bell Medical. Republicans have given their nod to interim county attorney Kay Taylor Sorensen at the Cache County GOP nominating convention that was held on Saturday. The incumbent garnered 378 of 539 votes cast in the first round of balloting by delegates to the local convention, securing 70.13% of those ballots and his party's nomination for the general election in November. Rival candidate Cameron Cox narrowly missed an opportunity to force Sorensen into the June 25th statewide primary with 160 votes. Cox fell short of the 30% needed to continue his candidacy by just 0.32 percentage points. In his 5-minute campaign pitch prior to the balloting at the GOP convention, Sorensen promised delegates that he would support local law enforcement, protect Cache County's most vulnerable citizens, and use his legal expertise to ensure that government operations are honest and transparent. A local public defender, Cox's campaign for the elective post of Cache County attorney was dogged by allegations of harassment and intimidation by Terrell Warner, the director of the county's Office of Victim Advocacy. On the eve of the GOP convention, 15 incumbent office holders and local candidates for office issued a statement condemning the alleged hostile work environment in the Cache County government. Many observers viewed that statement as confirmation of Warner's charges. In a letter accompanying that statement, Micah Safston, a policy analyst for the Cache County Council, explained that those office holders and hopefuls are calling for increased civility, better treatment of employees, and a more cordial relationship between fellow office holders in Cache County. In yet another race, in a move that seems to signal a growing mood for change on the part of Cache County Republican delegates, outsider candidate Matthew Funk swept to a decisive victory in the local GOP nominating convention, rejecting the bids for their approval of 2 internal candidates already employed by Cache County. The GOP delegates endorsed Funk for the new elective post of county auditor. A local certified public accountant, Funk made much of his outsider status while seeking the GOP nod for the post. He promised the convention delegates that he did not create the problems in the county's government, but he is willing to take responsibility for solving them. KVNU News Time is 5:07. KVNU weather for tonight: chance of rain showers, slight chance of thunderstorms this evening, low around 40. And then partly cloudy skies on Tuesday, high around 60. Slight chance of rain showers Wednesday morning, partly sunny skies, and mid-50s for the high. It's been to 50 degrees today. It's 47 right now at KVNU. KBNU weather brought to you by the Advocates. If you are not at fault, if you've been injured in a car, trucking, or slip-and-fall accident, if you were injured and have not spoken to an injury attorney yet, call today, the Advocates, 801-355-5550, or chat online at utahadvocates.com.
Wouldn't it be nice to lose a minimum of 2 to 5 inches of fat, just like that? At Bell Medical, with our uniquely patented FDA-cleared procedures, we are able to permanently remove that stubborn, hormonal fat that almost seems impossible to get rid of. And we are able to do it in a way that is so precise, we can guarantee a minimum of 2 to 5 inches of fat loss after one visit with us.
Schedule your free consultation at our Bountiful Clinic at bellmedical.com and let us make your dreams a reality.
KVNU News Time is 5:08. Natalie Klein has lost her nomination for re-election to the Utah State Board of Education, meaning she will not appear on the ballot as the GOP candidate. Delegates to the Salt Lake County Republican Convention gave Klein 123 votes on Saturday, or approximately 37%. She lost to opponent Amanda Bollinger, who gained 211 votes. The outcome was announced over 2 months since Klein made a social media post that seemed to imply a high school girl was a transgender athlete. She took the post down but faced a firestorm of criticism, later apologizing for it. Meanwhile, Klein turned down several calls for her to resign, including one from Governor Spencer Cox, saying it should be up to the voters to decide whether she stays in office. Klein officially announced her re-election campaign for Utah State Board of Education on February 19th. And 4 people were displaced after a fire at their mobile home in Ogden, killing a dog and cat. Crews responded to the 1000 block of Wall Avenue at about 4:30 Friday afternoon. Upon arrival, they reported a 1-story mobile home with smoke and heavy flames coming from the structure and fire spreading to a neighboring home. Officials said quick actions prevented any major damage to the neighbor's home. A total of 20 firefighters from Ogden and Weber Fire assisted. 4 people and 1 dog had safely evacuated before firefighters arrived. 1 dog and 1 cat, however, did not make it out and died in the fire. KBNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Devotion to country, service to Utah. Brent Orrin Hatch had a front row seat, watching his father serve our state faithfully in the Senate. A constitutional conservative and lifelong Republican, Brent Orrin Hatch is a champion for the rule of law. He's running for Senate to stop this lawless president from destroying our country from within. Hatch will fight to secure the border once and for all and take on Mexican drug cartels to halt the flow of deadly fentanyl. Brent Orrin Hatch knows the national debt is just as big a threat to national security. Hatch won't rest until the budget's balanced and won't cave to the big spenders in both parties. Pro-life, deeply committed to religious liberty, rock-solid Utah conservative. Brent Orrin Hatch for Senate. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.copac.us.
You may not be ready for spring cleanup, but your trees are. Hi, this is Chelsea with Whole Tree Care. Call now because we are starting to get real busy. Let our guys come trim your trees and shrubs, and I can assure you, when the weather warms up and your trees leaf out, you'll love the way they look. Also, if any of your trees suffered winter damage from heavy snow or wind, let us come clean it up. Call 760-6587. Call now while visibility is perfect. Whole Tree Care, HULL Tree Care, 760-6587.
The advocates care about your cycling accident and have attorneys who are fellow riders. They understand the risks you face when you ride, and they want to see you get back on your bike and out on the road. If you were hit while enjoying a leisurely ride or training for the next big cycling race, the Advocates Injury Attorneys can help. We are available 24/7 and we don't get paid unless we win your case. Chat anytime at utahadvocates.com or call 801-355-5550 today. Cyclists deserve an advocate.
Dance all night, play all Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show, kicking things off with a very special guest talking about a very important event happening this week. The Utah Division of Public Safety and their Be Ready Utah program are hosting the 2024 Great Utah Shakeout this week, April 18th. This is a statewide earthquake drill. And if you live here in Cache Valley, you know earthquakes are something we need to think about. There are fault lines here in the valley. We talked at the end of last hour about an earthquake in 1962 that caused more than $1 million worth of damage in 1962 dollars and was pretty high on the Richter scale. We are in an active earthquake zone throughout most of northern Utah. So this is not really a question of if, but when. And being prepared in your workplace, at your home, in your neighborhood, as an individual is going to make a huge difference and would possibly save a lot of lives throughout the state. So the statewide earthquake drill hosted by Be Ready Utah, the Great Utah Shakeout, again, is happening this week, April 18th. Joining us now, Public Information Officer with Utah Division of Public Safety, Wade Matthews. And Wade, appreciate you taking some time for KVNU today. You mentioned to me earlier today that you all of you there at the DPS and Be Ready Utah, you set a goal of 1 million participants in this year's Great Shakeout. And I hear you're close?
Yeah, that's right. We are at officially 902,035 participants.
Wow.
201,000 of those are coming from northern Utah, so Box Elder, Cache, Davis, Morgan, Rich, and Weber counties. Yes, yeah.
Great news.
We're getting close.
That is. A quick note for listeners, this is free, and you can register at shakeout.org/Utah. I've linked to that on our Facebook page, but I would also recommend getting familiar with the Department of Public Safety's Be Ready Utah program, beready.utah.gov, because not just earthquakes there, communication emergency plans, how to prepare your place of work, your business for everything from an earthquake to a wildfire. They do webinars on a regular basis. They have tips and resources for schools, for your churches, everything. And there is not one place. You know, Wade, I was thinking about this after we talked today to set a time for the interview. I got thinking, if an earthquake happens, just the average amount of time most of us are spending in different places throughout the Monday through Friday work week, for most of us, the odds of it being while we're at work are higher, I think, than it being at home. And that is something I think a lot of folks haven't thought about.
And that's true because, you know, we obviously spend more time at work during the week than we do at home. But really, we don't know where we may be when the next earthquake's going to hit. You know, if we look back to the Magna earthquake, March 18th, 2020, it happened at 7:09 a.m. So many of us were home or commuting, you know, and not in the office yet. So it could happen. We could be anywhere when it happens. And, you know, we could be separated from our families, which is probably a big concern there, is where will we be in relation to the rest of our family members, and how can we be reunited with them after an earthquake?
Sure. And that's the point of the Great Shakeout. When you register, you're sent basically a packet of information on how to prepare for the drill, but there are a lot of resources included. And Wade, I'll be honest, I thought I knew most things. You know, having maybe some water and even food at home, food for the dogs if you've got pets, having a communication plan, those types of things I'd thought about. There is a lot in this information packet that had never crossed my mind, and that was eye-opening.
Yeah, the Great Utah Shakeout, they're a partner of ours, Willie. The Utah Division of Emergency Management partners with the University of Southern California to put Shakeout on. So they do it across the nation, actually. And so that website is very earthquake-minded, earthquake preparedness, a lot of information to help promote the Great Utah Shakeout with flyers and banners and posters, as well as emergency plans and drills and exercises that you conduct during Shakeout to help you have an effective drill with your family or community organization or your work office team. Yeah, it's all great resources at shakeout.org/Utah, including sound effects. If you want to have some sound effects while you're doing your drill,
Sure.
they're there.
That to make it realistic, no joke, to have emergency broadcast sound effects and things like that you can make a part of this. And I also noticed, Wade, as I went through and registered, this is literally for everyone. You can register as an individual or a family. They have options here. You can register a child care business, preschools, K through 12 schools and classrooms, colleges, universities, state and local government organizations, tribes, businesses, healthcare facilities, neighborhood groups. If you want to get all your neighbors together before the 18th and register as a neighborhood group, which is a great idea. Because if we're not at work, right, Wade, we're going to be at home, and we're not going to be the only ones affected in our neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone and everyone is invited to attend, to participate in the Great Utah Shakeout. And we ask everybody to register, but of course that's not a requirement. We just really want everyone to learn and know and practice the protective action for earthquakes, which is drop, cover, and hold on.
Sure.
That's the purpose of the Great Utah Shakeout, is to take a minute out of your day and drop down under a desk, table, a chair, lean up against a wall without any glass overhead, and hang on until the shaking stops. In this case, imaginary shaking stops for about a minute. Just practice that protective action so the next time we feel real earthquake shaking, we know what to do. We don't hesitate. We don't freeze. We just take action, drop, cover, and hold on wherever you're at. We want everyone to practice that. And you don't, like I say, you don't have to register. If we just doing it for your own well-being and your own peace of mind is better than nothing. Registering helps us reach our goal of 1 million people, but do it whether you register or not.
Sure. And this is now I know this isn't specific to the Great Shakeout event this week, Wade, but the Utah Division of Emergency Management also has a full-on guidebook now in its second edition that you can download as a PDF for free at a couple of different places. You can get to it through through shakeout.org/Utah, beready.utah.gov, or earthquakes.utah.gov. It's titled "Putting Down Roots in Earthquake Country." And it's a full-on book in PDF form you can download for free that walks you through some interesting history, but also a lot of these resources we've been discussing on earthquake preparedness and more. And Wade, I know when it comes to Be Ready Utah, the safety program, to the Division of Emergency Management, Division of Public Safety, all of these organizations, getting word out is the most important thing. But as you said, it's not necessary to register. These resources also, whether it be earthquake resources, wildfire resources, communication plans, food storage plans, shelter and clothing plans, these resources are available year-round.
They are, absolutely. And, the Putting Down Roots in Earthquake Country is a great brochure, a booklet, as you say. And one of the things that's new, we just actually published that in Spanish as well. So for the first time ever, that great booklet is available in Spanish also on the website, earthquakes.utah.gov. People can pick up hard copies at the Mexican consulate, at the Department of Health and Human Services, or Department of Natural Resources. You can get a hard copy of those booklets in English or Spanish. They do have a lot of great earthquake science information in them. And, for example, most people don't know how many earthquakes we average in the state of Utah, which is around 1,200 earthquakes every year. They're just either so small in magnitude or out in such remote areas that we don't feel them. And what does epicenter mean? And what does magnitude mean? For example, we recently had the Taiwan earthquake, which was about a magnitude 7.4, which is the maximum magnitude we expect the Wasatch Fault could produce, is about a 7.5. But it's a logarithmic scale, which means that's 10 times stronger than a magnitude 6 and 100 times stronger than magnitude 5, which is what we had in Magna. So, Magna was a moderate quake, and a 7.5 on the Wasatch Fault will be a major quake. And as you mentioned, those booklets also have great emergency preparedness information from Be Ready Utah.
And again, all these resources are free. And as Wade has just told us all, this is a reality that we deal with. I know we all like to think that this is something that happens elsewhere, that it won't happen in our lifetime. We don't know. It could be tomorrow night. It could be 50 years from now. But we know we live on a fault line, a couple here in Cache Valley. We know that the earthquakes that have happened in this active earthquake zone we all live in fact, 90-something% of Utah, right? 90% of Utah lives in an active earthquake zone. We know it's a reality. And Wade, the Great Shakeout is a great way to remind everyone, to get everybody participating in a way that's educational, but also kind of fun to do it as a group on April 18th. If someone can't participate, they can't organize their business in time, they can't organize a neighborhood or their family in time, they can do it on another date, of course, but what's the most important thing for, let's say, a family or an individual to consider in committing some time to doing this eventually?
Well, I'd say, what we're talking about, drop, cover, and hold on, is learning what does that mean? What does that mean? Because it's a simple phrase, but it means a little bit different things in different situations. In an earthquake, you don't run into or out of a building. You have to just stay put where you're at. If the ground is shaking really violently, you're not going to be able to move very well or even stand up maybe. So you just have to drop, cover, and hold on wherever you are right here, right now. If you've got a desk table, a chair nearby that you can just crawl under and grab onto the legs and hold onto the legs until the shaking stops, because that keeps that cover overhead, then that's the best option. If you don't have that, try to just lean up against a wall that doesn't have any glass overhead, no windows, mirrors, picture frames, TVs, etc., like that overhead. And if you're in bed, stay in bed. In an earthquake, we don't promote standing in a doorway anymore. That's an old thing that we don't teach anymore. The door will be flying back and forth, knocking you out of the door frame or smashing fingers, things like that.
Sure.
And if you're outside, stay outside. Try to get into an open area. Try not to be under power lines or tall trees or next to big brick buildings. If you're driving, try to pull over safely as soon as you can, but try not to stop on a bridge or under an overpass or, again, under power lines or trees or next to big buildings. So drop, cover, and hold on is a general phrase that means a lot of different things in an earthquake response, depending on what your situation is at the time. And so maybe when you're considering participating in Shakeout, think about, well, how would I drop, cover, and hold on in this situation versus that situation?
Sure.
Because it just kind of, again, has to be a mindset that we don't have to think about it. We don't need to look for more information, which is what a lot of people do when faced with danger. They freeze versus panicking. We just want to make it second nature, and that's what the Shakeout will do.
Just like we used to do the drills in grade school, that was the purpose of those as well. And we all know if there ever actually was an emergency, you would remember that route out of the school because it would drilled into our heads. That's the point of this.
The first thing we learned in school was stop, drop, and roll.
That's
Everybody
right.
knows that. We've learned that forever.
No one forgets it because of those school drills, right?
Exactly. And we want people to remember drop, cover, and hold on in that same way.
That is the purpose of this event. And again, it is planned statewide if you want to participate during the statewide drill on April 18th. Details and to get the resources sent your way via email can be found at shakeout.org/Utah for the Great Shakeout event. But again, familiarize yourself with beready.utah.gov, the Utah Division of Emergency Management's full-on resource. This is great information there, all of it free and downloadable on avalanches, droughts, severe weather, floods, dam failures, climate change, and more. And all of this meant to keep us all healthy, happy, safe in the event of these catastrophes. We know here in northern Utah we deal with wildfires. We will someday, who knows when, deal with earthquakes again. And the resources are there for you to prep, to drill, to plan. BeReady.utah.gov, shakeout.org/Utah for the April 18th statewide earthquake drill. And again, our guest has been Public Information Officer with the Utah Division of Emergency Management, Wade Matthews. Wade, appreciate you taking some time for KVNU today. And shout out to all of you there at Emergency Management and Department of Public Safety for the work you're doing putting these resources together.
Thank you very much, and thanks for your time today as well.
Oh, our pleasure. And one more time for listeners, register now at shakeout.org/Utah for the April 18th statewide earthquake drill, the Great Shakeout 2024. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
Hi, everyone. It's Congressman Blake Moore here. It's been a great several months engaging with Utahns across the 1st District at in-person town halls, community events, facility tours, schools, and much more. I love the opportunity to meet with you and hear your concerns and priorities. I've also enjoyed hosting regular telephone town halls this year, and I'm looking forward to our next one on April 17th at 12:30 p.m. We will discuss everything from federal budgeting reform to the crisis at the southern border, from national security policy to public lands issues. Dial in at 833-305-1678 on Wednesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. That's 833-305-1678 on Wednesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. I'd love for you to call in and ask a question. Due to U.S. law, I will be unable to communicate with constituents 60 days leading up to the primary election unless you are subscribed to our weekly e-newsletter or follow us on social media. Please be sure to sign up for our e-newsletter at blakemore.house.gov and follow along on socials at Rep. Blake Moore, paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
As a math teacher for 37 years, I always taught by using real-life examples. I'm retired now, but I still like using examples, like my decision to live at Legacy House of Logan. They offer beautiful 1- and 2-bedroom studios, add a range of fun activities, plus new friends and home-cooked meals. Then subtract the hassle of keeping after my old house and yard. And it all adds up to a fulfilling life that's perfect for me. Legacy House of Logan on 1400 North and online at legacylogan.com.
It's time for Anderson's Seed and Garden Annual Spring Open House. Make sure to check their website and social media pages. Now through Saturday, save on several springy items. 10-inch hanging baskets, $18.99. All geraniums, $179. Jumbo 6-pack strawberries, half off, and much more. Don't forget, Anderson stocks all the fertilizer, weed sprays, and bug stoppers you'll need. The Spring Open House through Saturday at Anderson's Seed and Garden, 69 West Center in Logan. More information at andersonseedandgarden.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Thanks again to PIO with the Utah Division of Emergency Management. I'm having a day. I started that interview, I kept saying Utah Division of Public Safety. It's Utah Department of Public Safety, Utah Division of Emergency Management, which is where Wade works. So, also screwed up at the end of hour one. I kept saying the results of the county attorney's race when I was reading the results from Charlie Schill at CashValleyDay.com on the results of the county auditor's race. But I had county attorney on my mind because we've been talking about it during the break. It's allergy season. That's my excuse. But either way, thanks again to Wade. One more time, the Great Shakeout this week. If you want to be a part of this statewide drill as an individual, a family, a neighborhood, a school, a classroom, a business, a nonprofit, like the folks at CAPSA, they may want to do this. It's free. You get a lot of great resources sent right to you. They're all available at beready.utah.gov. But if you go to shakeout.org/Utah and register, they send them right to you, including a link to this Putting Down Roots in Earthquake Country, a free handbook, 40-page handbook on earthquakes in Utah history and preparation both. Second edition publishes this year. They send all that to you if you register at shakeout.org/Utah. And then again, get familiar with all the resources from wildfire tips and more, including earthquake safety and preparedness at beready.utah.gov. On the other side, it is springtime, spring cleanup. It means a lot of different things in Cache Valley. From Logan City, of course, they've ended their curbside cleanup, but have expanded green waste and toxic waste disposal facilities at the landfill to locations throughout the valley for green waste that, if they're not in place already, will be within the next week. We've got everything for you after these headlines, an update on all of that. Now, though, a look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:32. The news is brought to you by Roof Rescue. A conservative Utah State Board of Education member who faced calls to resign after lawmakers said she bullied a student on social media has lost her nomination for re-election. Natalie Klein needed at least 40% of the delegate votes at the Salt Lake County Republican Convention, but she fell short of that threshold on Saturday. She faced Jordan School District Administrator Amanda Bollinger, who won sufficient support to become the party nominee in that school board race. Klein faced backlash from Republicans and Democrats after her social media post questioning the gender of a high school basketball player prompted threats against the girl. The Supreme Court is allowing Idaho to enforce its ban on gender-affirming care for transgender youth while lawsuits over the law proceed, reversing lower courts. The justice's order today allows the state to put in place a 2023 law that subjects physicians to up to 10 years in prison if they provide hormones, puberty blockers, or other gender-affirming care to people under age 18. Under the court's order, the two transgender teens who sued to challenge the law still will be able to obtain care. The court's 3 liberal justices would have kept the law on hold. A federal judge in Idaho had blocked the law in its entirety, saying that it was necessary to do so to protect the teens. And the Arizona Coyotes will likely be sold to Utah Jazz owner Ryan Smith shortly after the team's final game, and will include a provision guaranteeing current owner Alex Morello an expansion team if a new arena is built within 5 years. This is according to a person with knowledge of the deal telling the Associated Press. The $1 billion sale is expected to happen between the Coyotes' final game of the 2023-24 season and the start of the playoffs, barring unforeseen circumstances. The person spoke on condition of anonymity because the planned deal has not been announced. The deal will transfer the franchise's hockey operations to Smith, who plans to move the team to Salt Lake City, and Morello will move forward with a planned $3 billion project that will include a new arena in Phoenix. KVNU News Time is 5:34.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. The first day of jury selection in the first criminal trial of a former U.S. president has ended with no jurors selected. Many potentials were excused when they said they couldn't be unbiased. This is the Donald Trump hush money porn star case that he denies. After the hearing,
this is about election interference. That's all it's about.
Behind closed doors, House Speaker Mike Johnson is telling his fellow Republican lawmakers that the chamber plans to bring 4 separate foreign aid bills to the floor this week, including for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. This according to House members in the room. That would undercut the single bipartisan bill the Senate passed. Another body is recovered from the Baltimore Highway Bridge crash site. A divided Supreme Court has allowed Idaho to go ahead with enforcement of a new law aimed at prohibiting gender-affirming care for minors. 2 lower federal courts put the law on hold while court challenges on the merits continue. This is ABC News.
KVNU weather tonight, mostly cloudy, chance of rain showers and a slight chance of thunderstorms this evening, low around 40, and then partly cloudy on Tuesday, high around 60. Another slight chance of rain showers Wednesday morning, partly sunny skies, mid-50s for the high. It's been to 51. It's 48 right now at KVNU. Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology has the highest quality for your audiology needs and the best value in today's hearing aid technology. Get a hold of Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Are you suffering with fatigue, brain fog, headaches, intestinal issues, weight gain, and you haven't been able to find any answers?
Before I started at Red River, I was having a lot of stomach pain. I was overweight, severe anxiety, some depression. I had been to multiple doctors. I'd been to specialists. We had done tests, and no one could find anything that was wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
I'm on anxiety medicine. I've lowered my dose, and I'm working with my doctor to continue to lower it. I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy for my kids. I've lost 30 pounds. I just feel really good.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively, and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
Hey business owners, are you frustrated with your workers' comp rates? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As an independent auto owners agency, we work with multiple carriers and will give you options. Our experienced agents are ready to answer your questions and help you navigate these options. Let us help you find the workers' comp policy that's right for your business. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. A little rainy and overcast throughout today, but over the weekend, you might have noticed it was pretty spring, even late spring, early summer-like on Saturday. Over 70. Sunday, just as decent, though not as warm. And has everyone in the mood. I saw it in my neighborhood. You've probably seen it in yours. Maybe you spent your weekend out in your backyard. Spring cleaning. There are, a couple of drop-off locations still up in Logan City for Logan residents, of course, for green waste, with no curbside green waste collection anymore in Logan. The cost of that just getting out of hand for the city. They have set up these 4 drop locations where you'll see those green waste bins. For Logan residents, though, the landfill, well, for Valley residents, especially if your city last summer didn't have a green waste contract, as a few didn't, with that coverage from Logan City ending, some cities didn't get on that fast enough. I don't really know what the deal was, but some cities just didn't have one last summer. Most have said they will have one this summer, but haven't seen announcements from some of those cities yet. We'll see. The Logan landfill, though, is an underrated option. It is a bit more of a drive for those at the south and the north and east and west ends of the valley, of course. You have to navigate through more traffic and across more busy roads than you might for a drop bin, just a few blocks away in your own city. But it literally is a green waste drop where you back in with your truck or trailer and just push it out. It's far easier than those green waste bins that most cities have had over the years. Accounting for the drive, of course, which can be inconvenient. And, of course, there are rules around this. I saw a bit of this over the weekend. It is a crime to travel with an unsecured load. It is no joke. You can injure someone, even cause someone's death, dropping a decent-sized branch or shrub on the road that just sits there. Also at the Logan landfill, unsecured loads will be spotted as you enter the gate. A secured load, they literally just wave you through. You go to the left, out to the green waste, just push it off. It's so easy. But secure those loads. In the interest of spring cleaning, though, there is also a new facility at Logan City landfill for the Valley residents, for everyone, that is great way to dispose of old batteries, oil, antifreeze, toxic chemicals, paint. It's also a great place where you can go get half a can of spray paint for a small project, or half a can of, fence paint for a small project. But it's there for disposal is the primary goal, and Logan City has completed a brand new building where you go in to the gate shack there, as it's known, and they just point you to the right where you can recycle cardboard, metal, glass, and also visit this new building they have there that is now finished for disposal of chemicals, paint, batteries, and more. It's really a convenient resource, and we had a chance to speak with Logan City Environmental Coordinator Emily Malik about this as spring cleaning is ramping up for us all. Emily said, this is definitely, you should put this on your list of places to take stuff.
Yeah, they really have, just for the hazardous waste portion of the landfill. That building, that we have near the transfer station was always designed to hold the hazardous waste material, and we were going to move things, but it just kept getting delayed, and we had some construction work to do on the interior of those to make it functional for the community, and so that is finally done, and we, like you said, are now sending people to the right to dispose of their hazardous waste, and this is a perfect time to talk about it because everyone is getting spring fever. I know I'm starting to think about all the outdoor projects I have to do. That means garage cleaning, shed cleaning, and a lot of people don't realize that we have this hazardous waste facility, and it is open to all county residents, and there is no charge for anything unless it's a tire or something with refrigerant in it. So it's super convenient for residents to use.
It was honestly just so slick. I stopped at the gate there, told them why I was there. She said, just go to the right. The new building, last door she pointed me to. You drive around, park right in front of the door. And, of course, it's for the most part self-serve. You do your own work, unloading and things like that. But I was in and out of there in about 6 minutes. And I should point this out, specifically, when it comes to antifreeze, and there are some other chemicals, there really is nowhere else to dispose of something like that in a legal and environmentally safe way. And it was so easy. This is now that whole recycling center there, everything from glass, cardboard, metal, oil, antifreeze, old paint cans with a 1/4 inch of paint still left in them that you don't need anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, this is literally everything.
Yeah, so at that hazardous waste, we have recycling, capacity there. So we have mixed bins, cardboard bins, scrap metal recycling, and I think sharps disposal for, residents who maybe have to use needles for health concerns at their house. And that's a really convenient disposal site for those things. But then the hazardous waste area takes kind of anything that has like a caution warning, dangerous, poisonous, flammable, label on it. So if there's still product left in those containers, you can bring it down there. Like I said, there's no charge unless it's, like an air conditioner or freezer or tires. And there's just really easy, it's a really easy drop-off point. So you saw where the antifreeze and oil goes, and that's just a really new, clean facility. But then there's also a drop-off for all these other chemicals, and it's labeled very clearly. You just can put your stuff in, get on your way, and be gone. And then we also still have the reuse shed, so that is something that's up at the very north end of the facility, and the door is kind of on the other side of the building. So we kept that as well.
That reuse shed. I had a metal bench. I did not care what color it was. I just needed some spray paint that would kill the rust, and it cost me nothing. It was
sign the waiver. There's all sorts of colors of paint. So if you're not picky, it works out really well. Yeah,
it was perfect. And I'm surprised, Emily. People I talk to, folks oftentimes that, in fact, just recently had a conversation with a family member, and she was saying, I don't even know what to do with all these used batteries, these old batteries from smoke detectors, all of this stuff. And if folks don't know, they can take that stuff out there. Now, obviously, it shouldn't go in your regular garbage disposal. It ends up in the landfill and then is a really, really bad thing to have there seeping and leaking into the water table in our aquifers. And so these recycling and disposal centers are there, but often forgotten about.
Yeah, and we're pretty fortunate in that ours is open, along with the hours of the landfill, so Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you can visit our hazardous waste facility during any of those operating hours, whereas a lot of communities, you'd have to wait for like a special disposal event just for, hazardous waste. So we're really fortunate to have just kind of the ease and convenience to dispose of these things just any time that we're open.
Sure. And again, it's arranged so nicely now with the new building there and everything being just to the right of the guard shack and the weigh station as you pull into the landfill. This is something you could do on your lunch break. This is something you could do. I checked my clock just because I was that curious. I was literally there 6 minutes and got rid of those 4 jugs of antifreeze that had been sliding around the bed of my truck for a week. And this was... it was just a really pleasant experience. Can you talk about that a little bit? This has obviously been planned out, everything from the location of the building and the doors and the different recycling sections, but also the traffic flow and things like that, kind of separating it from the rest of the landfill traffic, including green waste?
Yeah, so green waste is, kind of off in a separate location of the landfill area, and now there's just that's the only traffic that should be heading over to green waste. But yeah, it's really convenient. It gets people who are stopping for hazardous waste out of the way of the vehicles that are coming to drop off at the transfer station, so that there's not any people unloading at the hazardous waste area while people are like trying to back into the transfer station to dispose of garbage. So they are separated enough, but there is just like you said, it's very convenient. You can just pull off to the side and unload, and it's clean. It's not a dirty facility anymore, so it's very nice. Yeah, I actually went and checked it out today. So
I should point that out. I was actually wearing white shoes yesterday earlier when I did this. They were not dirty when I left.
Yeah.
It's all cement floors, paved roads, just a really nice facility there. And we wanted to just highlight this and make sure people know that it's out there, that it is super convenient, and it is the only way to safely dispose of a lot of these chemicals, oils, antifreezes, old paint, batteries, things like that. And, of course, you have the whole recycling center there as well to drop off your glass bottles, your cardboard, whatever, the chunks of metal.
Particularly that big cardboard. I mean, anymore, I feel like everyone has so much cardboard, and they just don't know what to do with it. It bogs down, your recycling container at home and things like that. So, and we just have those really easy, convenient big bins for those cardboard boxes. But then I think it's also important to point out that these services are still open to everyone in Cache County. So it's something that everyone can take advantage of, not just Logan City residents. There's been some confusion about that. So everyone can come down and dispose of these things.
No, the landfill is, county-wide service, and it is, like I say, quick and convenient and well-timed, because I know a lot of cities have kind of cut back temporarily or otherwise, sometimes permanent maybe, on some of the services they're offering as well when it comes to the recycling bins and things like that. The glass recycling, cardboard recycling, all of that, all in one place. It was clean, it was quick, it was just really impressive.
Yeah.
And so what comes next for the landfill? I know that there's always plans to expand and make improvements and things like that, but we're also at some point scaling the landfill portion of this landfill is no longer a part of the picture. But this center, there are long-term plans for this, right?
So we do have some long-term plans in the works. So as far as green waste, we did get a grant, a pretty significant grant from the EPA to expand our composting services to help us accommodate the wastewater treatment plant byproducts, so that we do have 2 different kinds of compost that we offer at our facility at this point in time. So one is that byproduct compost, and the other one is just sort of what we've made years prior. So I think that's a pretty significant change. And then I think that once operations kind of cease at our active landfill, you'll start to see some, they're going to develop a park on the south side of the landfill. And so I think you'll start to see some of that popping up here shortly, I think. So
very cool stuff.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, this regional park facility should be a very great resource for our whole community, and I'm really excited to see that come to fruition. So,
again, Emily Malik with Logan City, our guest, talking about the advances and completion of that toxic waste facility there Again, just to the right as you enter the landfill. It's really easy. If you've got oil, antifreeze, batteries, paint, spray paint, anything that you don't want in the landfill waiting to soak into the water table, can go there, and they dispose of it properly and recycle a lot of it as well. And also at that same location near that building, the actual recycling facility for metal, glass, cardboard, and all those types of things. So a really cool facility, and as Emily and I have discussed here, many people, even Logan City residents, don't realize that it's even there. It is a short drive for most Logan residents, a bit of a drive for some outside of Logan, but still, whether it's green waste, recycling, disposal of toxic chemicals and paint and things like that, oil, antifreeze, it's a quick drive through the guard shack there, and they point you to the right or left, depending on whether you're headed to the recycling and toxic waste facility or the green waste portion of the landfill there. And it is very quick, very easy. And as I said, as far as green waste goes, I actually prefer, for me, it's a bit of a drive through some crowded roads and high-speed roads compared to just going uptown or downtown within my city for a green waste bin. But it is a lot easier to unload at the Logan City green waste site than it is to get it into those bins a lot of times. So, I don't know, make your choices, but know it's there as we all get spring cleaning underway. I'm just happy it's spring. We'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Green grass will be here soon this spring. We are excited to continue to offer our 2-service soil enrichment package. Here's what our customers have noticed: improved water retention, reduced compaction, stimulated root growth, and an increase in nutrient and fertilizer uptake, resulting in a greener and healthier lawn throughout the season. Sign up early and get the second service half off.
Watering help, weed, fertilizer, and pest control. Call the lawn doctor at 753-LAWN or go to lawndoctor.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Over the weekend, so I really do try, folks. I try. After I got a really interesting listener complaint once that made me realize, that's... listener emailed in and said, sometimes the show is just a little too much. The news of the day or the topics of politics and current events here in Utah at large and in Cache Valley, sometimes listeners said, it's just, I listen to the whole show, and I get to the end of the show, and sometimes I feel a bit overwhelmed by everything I've just heard about or learned. And I'm excited anytime a listener says they've learned something or heard about something they hadn't heard of before, or were made to think about something that they hadn't been on their mind before. I like that. That's the whole point of our show. That's the whole point of talk radio, really, in a way. But in addition to bringing you, just the straight up news, it was a good point. It does get, for me even sometimes, I leave the studio some days and I think, whoa, what a day in the news. And so with, over the weekend, kind of some scary headlines of Iran launching drones and missiles at Israel. 99% of them were stopped in their tracks by anti-missile systems and ballistics. What I'm trying to say is it could have been a lot worse, but it has probably triggered more of a regional issue, not regional war, but regional issue beyond the Israel's efforts to eradicate Hamas and critics of what they're doing in Gaza to Palestinians that some are calling genocide. Others are saying, this is a necessary part of a war to wipe out a terrorist organization. It can get a little much, especially international headlines like this, right? So, responding to that listener, I decided to wrap up every show with something interesting and more lighthearted. I'm going to fail at that here at the end of the show today, but it is interesting. I ran across something completely by accident. I was actually looking for a book. I'd heard about this book called Restricted Data. It is a book about the U.S. and international nuclear programs, and not specifically about the development of the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer, and all those things, the Manhattan Project, but more about the program itself as it ran through the Cold War and even beyond the Cold War, and the secrecy around it, the intelligence and spying around it. And there's a book that had been written about all of that stuff by a historian and current professor at Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey, Alex Wellerstein. And Wellerstein's book is called Restricted Data, and I was looking for that. I found it in audiobook format even, so I'll be listening to that while I do my own spring cleaning over the next week or so. But I found out that he has a blog. And I want to point everyone to this. And again, this isn't about really the development of the atomic bomb or Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project, Los Alamos, World War II, any of those things, Hiroshima. This is about nuclear programs themselves and the level of secrecy that existed around these programs over the years. It's fascinating. The blog itself is also called Restricted Data, just like Wellerstein's book. And it's subtitled The Nuclear Secrecy Blog. It can be found at blog.nuclearsecrecy.com. He hasn't updated it since December of 23. He doesn't post often, but he's posted there for years, just 2 or 3 times a year at most. But these are lengthy posts. In fact, this whole thing, as I read through it, could be a book in and of itself. But it's a fascinating look at a different angle on nuclear weapons, the development of the atomic bomb, all that stuff. But from the point of view of government secrecy, how much effort the U.S., Russia, other USSR at the time, and other countries have put into keeping nuclear programs a secret. It's a fascinating read, so check it out. The blog, Restricted Data, the Nuclear Secrecy Blog, at blog.nuclearsecrets.org, or .com, sorry. I got that wrong. blog.nuclearsecrecy.com. And if you're so inclined, I haven't listened myself, so I'm not recommending it yet, just telling you about it. Wellerstein's book, also titled Restricted Data, the Era and Age of Nuclear Secrecy. It really is a fascinating read, the blog itself, so and I look forward to the book. So not necessarily lighthearted, but something interesting to send you off with there. That's our time for today. Please join us tomorrow at 4 as we kick off a new episode of For the People each and every weekday at 4 o'clock. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU Logan.